For most people and in most cities all around the world, living spaces aren't getting larger, they're getting smaller. So in today's video, we're going to be covering some of the best solutions for how to get a great musical experience in a small space without having to compromise the sound and the touch you want, but giving you the tools to make sure your neighbors and family members aren't going to want to kill you. So first, let's say that you're a total purist and you only want to go with an acoustic piano. To me, there are only 3 or 4 models in the whole industry that have consistently impressed me while staying small. First up, Kawai's K15. This is a 44-inch console instrument that to me has an exceptionally full sound for its price and its size. It always comes out of the box well regulated and evenly voiced, and over time this instrument has proven itself to be a low maintenance, very satisfying instrument that can serve both beginners as well as professional musicians. Yamaha, of course, has their version of the K15. They call it the B1. It's a very different musical experience, but in terms of just its fit and finish and how mechanically reliable the instrument is, I've heard nothing but good things about the piano. It tends to be slightly brighter and maybe a little less bassy than you can get out of a K15, so this really comes down to the musical preference and tone that's going to excite you every time you sit down. But certainly, if you are wanting high value, easy to maintain, and physically small, pure acoustic uprights, the B series or the K15 are a great place to start looking. Another model that I'd put in there for consideration would be Kawai's K200. This is an instrument that really doesn't have much of a competitor out there. It is a 45, 46-inch instrument that is spec'd out just like a K300, but it's priced very close to what you can get a K15 for. A lot of musicians who are looking for just a little bit more resonance and a little more breadth of tone than what the K15 offers have really found this interesting middle ground with the K200. Next, for people who are open to what digital pianos have to offer and love some of those conveniences and bells and whistles that they bring, there are 3 or 4 digitals on this list that musically have just blown me away every single time I sit down in front of them. So the first one I want to mention is Roland's GP6. This is the middle child of their new GP series. It still stays very nice and compact. While it sticks out a little bit more than a traditional digital piano is going to, it is nowhere nearly as deep as most digital grands, and certainly nothing compared to an acoustic grand. The key action feels great. It's a PHA 50. The tone engine is very similar to what you're going to get in the very best digital pianos at any price point, and the speaker placement and the new digital amplification system they're using makes this unbelievably sensitive and well balanced to play. For people wanting the look of a grand, the convenience of a digital, but need to fit in a really compact space, honestly, the GP6 stands pretty uncontested in the marketplace today. The next one I'll mention is the Roland Kola. Now, it's a very unique offering and something that I think people need to be aware of if they're shopping for a small space and they want something that's elegant. It's kind of a mark of distinction, and really the compactness is the priority. The Kola project was a collaboration between one of Japan's most esteemed furniture builders as well as Roland, and so this instrument is built in Japan by hand and features solid hardwood furnishings and a very, very lean cabinet done up in 4 or 5 different finishes. The bench is also of a designer quality, and so for buyers who have a real eye for design, this instrument is particularly unique, and while a little harder to find because not all Roland dealers have access to it, it's easy enough to see photos online, watch a few videos, or even our own review to see whether this might be a potential fit for you. And then the last two digitals on my list here would be the Roland LX9 and the Kawai CA901. Now these are both the flagship models of those respective lines, so certainly we're up into a higher price point, but the performance that one gets for the spend is pretty extraordinary. With the LX9, we're talking about an 8-speaker system. We're talking about a full grand hybrid action, which means that the key stick length is going to mimic that of a baby grand or certainly a full-size upright instrument. We've got upgraded piano models that Roland has released with this, haptic key vibration. It's a pretty incredible playing experience and one that is highly customizable. But for modern living spaces, the LX9 is pretty well the most optimized digital piano that you could possibly hope for. So now on the Kawai side, we just mentioned it, the CA901. This takes a little more intelligent placement because it does combine that soundboard on the back with a great speaker system out front. So you are going to be getting rear projection that's going to put a little more lower frequency out into the rest of the room, whereas your mids and highs are coming straight at you through a series of front-facing and 360-degree diffusing speakers on the top. For customers who have the luxury of placing this, say, on an interior or an outside wall, the advantage of that soundboard is a truly lush, analog, acoustic feel to what should really just be a digital piano experience for its size and price. The next category, definitely worth a consideration, are the digital hybrids. And this is where Kawai and Yamaha really shine. Kawai's Novus NV5S, as well as Yamaha's Upright series within their Avant series, both feature various incarnations of upright acoustic actions combined with pretty robust speaker systems. Again, with the NV5S, as we did with the CA901, you have a real spruce soundboard along the back, which really is quite unique in the marketplace and adds a breadth and depth of tone that's pretty hard to achieve through a traditional speaker. Combine that with a full upright action, including a damper mechanism, and the NV5S is about as close to an upright playing experience in digital form as the marketplace affords. For people who want a slightly lighter action, but still the overall feel of an acoustic upright mechanism, Yamaha, in the form of the N2 or N1X, does a really great job of delivering on that, albeit without the rear-facing soundboard or the damper simulation. But really between these two, it comes down to your preference of tone. Both are really highly regarded products, and if you have a chance and are interested in this category, do yourself a favor, watch a ton of videos where the audio quality is really high, or get yourself into a store if you have that option to compare them side by side or certainly within reasonable proximity to each other. Next category that's worth a consideration for small spaces is the acoustic hybrids. These are instruments that start as acoustic pianos, but they have now had digital components added to it that increase the convenience and connectivity of those options. And with this category, there really are just two players in the market, Kawai and Yamaha. With Kawai, this is their RZ offering. Essentially, you're taking instruments such as their K300 and you're adding 4 transducers directly to the soundboard, as well as the same level of technology that's going into their Novus or their CA901 series. So you've got the very best digital piano tech that Kawai has to offer, combined with the very best upright tech that Kawai builds, all in a single instrument. So this piano can be played as a plain acoustic piano. It can be played as a pure digital piano with zero acoustic tone, Or you can activate both and have the instrument combining digital and acoustic tone all in one playing experience. It also has multiple recording options, interfaces directly with wireless apps for all sorts of additional functionality. It really is quite the experience to sit down at an RS. Yamaha side, they take a similar approach with their trans acoustic line. They also use transducers to directly activate the soundboard, and the biggest difference between it and the Kawai RZ really comes down to the digital componentry that they slap on the instruments. Whereas Kawai essentially gives you a fully loaded CA or Novus digital component, Yamaha's is a little bit more stripped back, offering something that would be in line with a mid-range Yamaha digital combined with the acoustic piano transducing the soundboard. But in both cases, you're getting a similar range of features, which is the ability to play the instrument purely acoustically, to add digital sounds on top of that, or to play it completely silently on top of many recording options. And then last on my list are silent acoustic pianos. Now, this is kind of like taking Kawai RZ and stripping it right back without any of the actual speakers or soundboard transduction technology. But when it comes to silent pianos, there's one company that's really taking the lead on this and making this a primary focus of their future product development, and that is Beckstein. Not only do they have the Vario product that they continue to refine and offer on virtually every single model of their lineup, including the Hoffman line, but as of this past year, literally every single model from the Hoffman Tradition, Professional, and then Beckstein Academy and Concert series comes with a MIDI strip pre-installed on every single instrument. Now, because the MIDI strip is optical and installed underneath the key bed, it has absolutely no impact on the playing experience whatsoever. In fact, most people would never even know it was there unless they were making use of it. But what that does permit is connectivity to outside apps through Bluetooth connection, or if you combine it with a silent system, you can turn this really into a silent piano with the stop bar that prevents the hammers from hitting the strings. You can use it with headphones with the Vario system, or use it to connect and drive other VST instruments, say with a computer or laptop. So there you go. There's a pretty comprehensive list of all of the musical instruments, both digital and acoustic, that have genuinely impressed me as a musician, that I think work really well in small spaces. Good luck with your research. Thank you so much for checking us out here on Merriam Pianos. Please check out individual reviews of all of the instruments that we've mentioned here. We'll have the links below. Thanks so much. My name's Stu Harrison. We'll see you again soon.